People should not knowingly take money from the government of Russia or Iran or China or any other adversarial nation to try to influence the election. But I also think it's fair to say that a few memes or videos in the vast sea of political commentary is not going to make much of a difference in this election, nor has it in past elections as well. What did make a difference in the last election is the lies about Hunter Biden's laptop that more than 4 dozen former intelligence officials lied about in the middle of that campaign. And most networks, to include this one, bought that lie hook, line, and sinker. That did make a difference in the election. But I think a few videos or commentaries, which, again, you shouldn't do if you're out there in the business of commentating on elections, is not going to make a difference in the vast sea of commentary we see.
Do you accept that school shootings like this are just a way of life now?
No, absolutely not. And J.D. Vance doesn't either. He said that he doesn't want them to be a fact of life. And this week, the Associated Press got caught distorting that quote from him so bad that they had to retract it. But here's what we also know about that shooting, even as we're still gathering all the facts. It wasn't as bad as it might have been because there was a police officer on the school premises that was able to neutralize the shooter. Kamala Harris wants to take police officers out of school. She said it in the past.
Again, what we need to do about demilitarizing our schools and taking police officers out of schools.
That's her position. It's not surprising because she's consistently taken positions against law enforcement throughout her career as a San Francisco liberal. If that police officer hadn't been there, if Kamala Harris had gotten her way, many more students and teachers might have been killed.
I hear you about endorsements. We don't really know the impact that they have all the time. RFK Jr. hasn't been in elected office. Dick Cheney was Vice President of the United States for 8 years. He was a senior member of the House. He was Chief of Staff to Gerald Ford. He worked tirelessly to advance Republican policies for a long time. You don't think his endorsement of a Democrat with that kind of pedigree is going to make a difference with swing voters?
I really don't. I mean,
never Trump voters who aren't sure. I hear you.
I just found a new favorite congressman, Tom Cotton. Stop playing with this man. Hey, don't play with him, bro. The mainstream media, bro. Y'all getting exposed today. Like, it just today, at the time of me making this video, I did a video on Anna Kasparian going off on MSNBC. Then I decided, let me see what CNN's up to. State of the Union. And Tom Cotton just took Dana Bash to school. And Dana Bash, to me, she's one of the most partisan journalists on CNN. I don't understand why she tries to do this game, because every question that comes out of her mouth is a defense for the Democrat every single time. And you're going to see this for yourself. But to answer a question at that final clip that I showed you of her saying that Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney endorsed Kamala Harris, who I believe Liz Cheney called her a radical. Polls has shown that Trump leads in the latest NYT Siena poll, suggesting euphoria has stalled, right? This is the first look. The New York Times reported that the poll is the first major nonpartisan national surveys in roughly a month to show that Trump with a lead, and outlet said that the outlet said it suggested that Harris's euphoria in the election has stalled. And the media is not due to the lack of trying, but the media try to keep this euphoria going. They try to keep this honeymoon phase for Kamala Harris going. But people ain't going for it, bro. People are seeing the problems that they're dealing with their life. My wife and I just sit down, saw a news story about how an illegal immigrant did something to somebody. And my wife was like, wow. And the people couldn't even go to the police because they have no documentation on these people. And that made me click in my head, yo, if Donald Trump wins this election, it's due to the fact that the Democrats, due to their negligence and due to their misgovernance on the illegal immigration problem, it's what made them lose the election. And they're trying to make it about Trump, but Trump's not in power. Kamala and Biden's in power. Democrats are in power right now. They control the Senate and the executive office. So what, end of the day, they're 2/3 responsible for everything that's going on right now in America. And you expect Americans to continue voting for this stuff? This is why the narrative, flipping the narrative on the mainstream media is so effective. So now, along with that monologue, I want to react with the video along with you all and give some of my commentary throughout of Tom Cotton. Just, to me, he schooled her. I don't see how anyone rationally can defend what the hell is going on, like what Dana Bash is trying to imply here. So let's take a look at the reaction video, and I'll give my thoughts as usual throughout. Let's take a look.
Now is a supporter of Donald Trump's Republican Senator Tom Cotton. Thank you so much for being here. Nice to see you in person.
Thanks, Dan. Good to be with you.
I want to start with some of the endorsements that Kamala Harris got this week, particularly from former Congresswoman Liz Cheney and her father, the former Republican Vice President Dick Cheney. We were talking before in the break. I covered the Bush-Cheney administration. I traveled a lot with Dick Cheney. One of the most conservative Republicans alive today.
Before she continues, the reason why I don't think none of the Cheney's endorsements on Harris is moving the needle because they had no real influence over people who already support Trump. And I don't think they have any influence on independent voters, like such as myself, who are not like in awe of their like it's like it's like Mike Pence. If Mike Pence said that he's endorsing Kamala Harris, you think that's moving the needle? It's not. Like from people who like for the end of the day, people who are tired of the way the government is running, RFK's endorsement is more effective than Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney's endorsement because of the fact that with RFK, he represents a certain voter that is tired of both side politics. Trump and him made a deal. They're going to they're going to create a coalition that's kind of more broadly representative of Americans than what Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney are representing. They represent the same old, same old. Like imagine this. And I'm done rambling and I'll let you guys watch the video. But Harris's whole thing is we're not going back. And you being endorsed by two people who, if you ask any Republican, hey, do you want the Republican Party to go back to being the party of Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney? You're going to hear a lot of no's. So for this talk of this narrative that Kamala Harris is trying to do, saying we ain't going back, you look like you're going back. This is backwards. You vote for Kamala Harris, you're going back to the way things were. Instead of moving forward. Like, make it make sense. This is not a strong endorsement. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but I believe when Dick Cheney left his administration, I don't know what he is. Honestly, I don't know who he is. I remember seeing something about his approval rating being 13% when he left office, whatever office he was holding. I don't know. I don't follow these people. I don't worship these people. All I care about is the outcome of their policies and what they implement. But I digress. Let's see how Tom Cotton handles this.
It's really remarkable that he endorsed a Democrat. What does that tell you about Donald Trump?
Well, it was a remarkable time in politics. You have Dick Cheney endorsing a Democrat and you have a Kennedy endorsing a Republican. I think what it tells us is that there's a lot of ferment in American politics, but in the end, endorsements are not going to make the difference in this race. What's going to make the difference is their records. This is a very unusual presidential election. We have a former president running for office, first time in more than 100 years. People remember that when Donald Trump was in office, prices were low, wages were high, we had peace and stability around the world. Kamala Harris, as vice president, has brought us record high inflation. We have a wide open southern border, and we have war everywhere you turn around the world. So I know that endorsements sometimes make news, but most Americans are making their decisions based on the records of these two candidates. People remember that we had good times with Donald Trump. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have brought us very bad times.
That's it. I can end the video right here, but I'm not. Results matter more than endorsements. What are the results? I don't give a damn what the Cheneys think. I don't give a damn what Mitt Romney thinks. I don't give a damn what Mike Pence thinks. This is voters. I'm talking like a vote. I'm going to voter mode. I'm not politically commentating on this. I'm going voter mode right now. I don't give a damn who endorsed who. I'm looking at one policy, Agenda 47. I'm looking at the agenda that Kamala Harris is putting out, and I'm doing my research currently, but I'll give you my reaction on a follow-up video. I think it's going to be a preview of the presidential debate. That's why I'm getting my thoughts on it. But all she's really doing, she's doubling down what they're already doing right now. Make it make sense. But we're not going back. Okay, Kamala. Trying to gaslight us and make me think she's a moderate? Get out of here. Mainstream media, bro, y'all need to update y'all playbook or something, bro. Because now it's getting too obvious. Too many people see through it now. I digress.
I hear you about endorsements. We don't really know the impact that they have all the time. RFK Jr. hasn't been in elected office. Dick Cheney was vice president of the United States for 8 years. He was a senior member of the House. He was chief of staff to Gerald Ford. He worked tirelessly to advance Republican policies for a long time. You don't think his endorsement of a Democrat with that kind of pedigree is going to make a difference with
No,
swing
Dan,
voters?
I really don't. I
Or
mean,
never Trump voters who weren't sure about Harris?
Well, I mean, some of this is probably that Donald Trump beat his daughter in her last election by 39.
Exactly. Like end of the day, this personal vendetta, this other things that could be motivating him from doing this. It's not a principled stance like a lot of these never Trumpers like to pretend it is. It's purely politics. He's a threat to your bureaucracy. This is why I don't want to vote for Donald Trump. This is why I don't want to endorse Donald Trump. This is why a lot of never Trumpers don't want to endorse Donald Trump, because he's a threat to their bureaucracy. Because as an independent, I'm criticizing now the Republican Party. The reason why I'm not a registered Republican, and I think my dad is also not a registered Republican, is the fact that it seemed like the Republican Party is content just being an opposition party. Hey, we just want to slow you down. We just want to be brakes, but they don't want to push for something. Trump's the very first candidate since Reagan to push for something. This is why this is why Trump won, because he laid out a vision. Hey, here's what I'm trying to do. Here's how I'm going to do it. Don't you think it's a good idea, America? And he was for something, for the wall. And what Jeb Bush had. What all these other Republican senators who were, oh my God, there's such heavyweights in the Republican Party. What they had? Nada, nothing. Democrats bad. Trump bad. And now the Democrats are playing the same playbook they're doing right now in 2024. Trump bad. Stealing policies from Donald Trump. Oh, I'm strong on the border, but years ago, you was criticizing the border. Years ago, you said the border was a vanity project and it was immoral and bad to have a border wall. It tells people to stay out. Now you have that same border wall in your campaign ads, Kamala Harris. Make it make sense. And they're trying to spin this dumb narrative that Donald Trump is scared of the debate? Huh?
Points. I think most Americans are going to look at this race and compare the records they have. Again, it's a very unusual race. When you have a president who served in office, who brought good times to America, and you have Kamala Harris, a San Francisco liberal, who has brought to America exactly what you see in San Francisco as well.
I want to turn to a very different topic, and that is something that the Justice Department said this week. They detailed a Russian government effort to stoke divisions in the U.S. using front organizations and social media prominent right-wing influencers like Dave Rubin and Benny Johnson, who have ties to Tenet Media. Now, that's a company that the Justice Department says was being funded by Russian operatives. You sit on the Intelligence Committee. How worried are you that right-wing influencers, people who do have an impact on your constituents, are being funded either directly or indirectly by the Russian government in order?
See, so this is one thing that I read this book on radicalism and liberalism. One thing liberals are really good at is character assassination, and this is essentially a play into that, right? And this is what most of the video is going to be. It's going to be about the Russian disinformation stuff and the propaganda ploy that's going on. So I don't want to go further into that. But as you saw from the intro, I think the intro summarized everything about that video. But if you want to watch the rest, I'll leave the link in the description below. But my final thoughts on that is the idea that the appearance of corruption, they're trying to use that as in of itself a means to doubt the intentions of people, right? End of the day, they don't got concrete proof. End of the day, Tim Pool, Benny Johnson, and I think she said Dave Rubin, they're all been put as victims of fraud. Essentially, they took the money under false pretexts. They unknowingly took this money. The same way that Kathy Hochul unknowingly hired a Chinese spy. Now, are we supposed to sit here and to look at Kathy Hochul and be like, yeah, she's a Russian asset. She's a Chinese asset. What about that other guy? I forgot his name. The one that slept with a Chinese. He was in a love affair with a Chinese spy somewhere. I forgot his name. Swalwell, I think his last name is Eric Swalwell. What about Eric Swalwell? Could we call into question his allegiance, his loyalty? Should we remove him from office because he was associated with a Chinese spy? Many people say that's more valid grounds of, hey, questioning the intentions of a U.S. politician than some internet influencers online. Make it make sense. But this is the game they play. And this is what I'm talking about with Dana Bash. She's the worst non-political journalist I've ever seen in my life. She tried to act like this objective, but no, you just trying to play defense for the Democrats. No question have you asked them even from a favorable point of view. Hey, what are your thoughts on this? I want to hear your thoughts on that. No, it's always these loaded questions trying to make a framing, and then it's always the Republican got to either answer for something or defend Trump in some way. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm just tired of that. Like, it's starting to get old. It's starting to get stale. And I don't know if other people are feeling the same way. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.